You wouldn't expect comparisons to drug addicts at a hearing on property tax breaks, but here we are. Also, I'm pretty sure the chairman of the Arizona House Ways and Means Committee is the dumbest person I've ever seen. Welcome to Hearing All About It, where hearings on current events are brought to you to make you a better informed person. Today we are coming to you from the Arizona State Legislature for a hearing on GPLETs, which, despite the name, is not a tiny type of Jeep, it's a property tax break. GPLETs are a temporary property tax break given to encourage development. Then when the tax break ends, a more developed property pays higher property taxes. That's the theory, at least. HB 2309, the bill under debate, would make adjustments to current law. Here's the sponsor, Representative Grantham, explaining the bill and what motivated it.
I don't like targeted tax breaks. I never have. I don't like one person being given the advantage over the other. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair. I think everybody should be on as even of a playing field as they can be. It needs to be reined in a little bit, and that's the purpose of the bill. You're going to hear from some experts here today who watch this stuff and watch it closely. And I'm not asking for it to be done away with. I'm asking for it to be limited in time. Currently 8 years. This can go on down to 4.
Seems straightforward, cuts the time GPLETs can last to 4 years. I'm glad Representative Grantham is taking a high-minded approach to this bill. Too often, legislative hearings devolve into name-calling and shot-taking at other people's motives. That goes double because it's about property tax. Who could possibly get that worked up about property tax?
How long does the city of Phoenix need this incentive? I mean, I've been here my whole life. I've seen it go from nothing to a bustling downtown. When is enough enough?
Chairman
of other people's money? Sorry.
Okay, well, that's unfortunate. I mean, we came here for an insightful discussion on tax policy, and now we have insults. Hopefully this is an isolated incident.
It sounds like there is an agreement that this comes to an end at some point. My experience in government, and I'm exiting stage left after this session for a little while, is that if you put the drug in front of the addict continually, they will take it. And I got to tell you, money is no different. And at some point, we have to cut the cord and kind of wind things down and put you out on your own.
There's a lot to unpack there, but it appears Representative Grantham is incapable of making a case for this bill without insulting people. I'll skip over the drug addict comment for now, but don't worry. I will come back to it. For now, let's get to the expert witness we were promised.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members. Kevin McCarthy, President of the Arizona Tax Research Association, here in support of House Bill 2309.
So your expert for your bill is someone from a tax-exempt organization. I thought you were tired of picking winners and losers. What is tax-exempt if not picking a winner? I'll let the guy make his case. But I mean, come on, man.
Not everybody thinks that government ought to use its tax-exempt status to shield a private concern from taxation.
Yeah, I can't imagine the government being used as a shield by some guy whose organization ain't ever paid a dime in taxes. Moving along, what's this guy's case against GPLETs?
Property taxes are dominantly the use of school districts, counties, community colleges. Cities operate dominantly off of their own sales tax and state shared revenue. So if we're going to have money to play with, to harvest, if you will, to make an economic development deal go, what better structure would you have than to use the other jurisdictions' revenues, the schools' revenues, and the counties and the community college?
That's actually an interesting argument. The GPLET, when put in place, cuts school district revenue. If cities use the GPLET, school districts get less money from property taxes. The shortfall in money has to be made up for by the state out of the general fund. So technically, it comes out of property taxes, but functionally it comes out of the state's general fund. So the charge that school funds are being raided is misleading. Let's hear from Christine McKay, Economic Development Director for Phoenix, to respond to the charge that property taxes are being raided to fund GPLETs.
So let me give you an example. So in 2014, in downtown Phoenix, the tax to the taxing jurisdictions per $100 of assessed valuation was just over $17. by the development that we've caused to happen and additional development to come in, they're now just over $15 per $100 assessed valuation. So it's going the right direction in taking the taxes. Big, vast amounts of vacant land cause the taxpayers of all the taxing jurisdictions to have to make the school district whole. If we're not there causing development to happen, they're doing that naturally. By us causing this development to happen, we're taking that burden in a short amount. Instead of 10 years from now, all of your taxpayers are still supporting these because you have to meet your educational equalization, you have to meet your guaranteed funding limit. Now we've actually brought development in that's paying their piece of the pie, and that's no longer necessary.
Okay, a little confusing, but the case is roughly if we increase the value of the property to be taxed, it raises the amount of tax raised overall while lowering tax rates. It's an interesting case, taking a temporary hit to property tax now to ensure a bigger payday down the line, all the while getting new building projects and businesses into the area. The case for GPLETs becomes even more interesting when you realize it isn't just economic development that GPLETs are being used for.
And I also want to point out to a project this tool was used in the city of Goodyear for the City of Hope cancer treatment. So this tool is not just used for housing or to make downtown better. It's also used to bring medical facilities to parts of the city that don't have access like the rest of the big cities do.
You know what? That's a solid case. We used GPLETs to build a cancer center. I hope the Republicans on the committee have a strong argument for removing this economic development tool from cities. It'd be pretty dumb to try to do that by saying it's not a city government's job to look out for its residents or create jobs.
I'm wondering if it's your opinion that it's the appropriate role of the city to guarantee some ideal number of residents, jobs, and retail outlets.
I stand correct. It is pretty dumb to say that. The dummy in question is the chairman of the committee, Neil Carter. And boy is he dumb. But before I get to putting Neil on a dumbness scale, let's actually get back to something I'd promised I'd get back to.
It sounds like there is an agreement that this comes to an end at some point. My experience in government, and I'm exiting stage left after this session for a little while, is that if you put the drug in front of the addict continually, they will take it. And I got to tell you, money is no different. And at some point, we have to cut the cord and kind of wind things down and put you out on your own.
I said I'd get back to the drug addict comment, so let's look at the implication behind the comment. Representative Grantham is saying that local governments can't be trusted with GPLETs. They are like drug addicts and should have the drugs in question, GPLETs, taken away from them for their own good. That's mildly offensive, especially since Grantham whined about cities making everything partisan earlier.
I know when cities and towns get pitted against the state, it becomes partisan.
But whatever, the important thing to take away from that is that one of the drivers of this bill is that cities can't be trusted with GPLETs. Under this guideline, let's see how Chairman Carter frames his argument.
Are you familiar with a development known as Hilton Garden?
Yes, sir.
Hilton Garden is a development that had requested a GPLET or claimed that it was necessary, but that development did not receive a GPLET and was built anyway.
Yes.
Your ears are not deceiving you. Chairman Carter reinforces the case that cities cannot be trusted with GPLETs by bringing up a case where they exercised restraint, specifically the Hilton Garden Inn in downtown Phoenix. To repeat, cities can't be trusted to police themselves when it comes to GPLETs. Also, here's a case where they actually did that. Do you get now why I think Chairman Carter is dumb? If not, I understand. You'll need a bigger sample. What if I told you he did it twice?
Stewart is another development that claimed it needed a GPLET and has also proceeded without it. Okay. So you testified earlier that this is a tool that's necessary because without it, these developments would not occur, but I've just given you two examples of developments that did occur without it.
Same argument again. Cities can't be trusted with GPLETs because they are like drug addicts. Jonesing for a hit. Oh, and here's an example of cities exercising restraint, thus disproving that argument. I'd also like to point out that in both examples by Chairman Carter, the developments happened. So not only are the cities exercising restraint, they did so by correctly analyzing the circumstances of the development. So that big song and dance Representative Grantham did earlier?
It sounds like there is an agreement that this comes to an end at some point. My experience in government, and I'm exiting stage left after this session for a little while, is that if you put the drug in front of the addict continually, they will take it. And I got to tell you, money is no different. And at some point, we have to cut the cord and kind of wind things down and put you out on your own.
Has been blown out of the water because cities can very clearly exercise restraint. So when I say Chairman Carter is stupid, it's because he is. He eviscerated the argument for getting rid of GPLETs because cities can't be trusted not to abuse them, which is the position he currently holds. I want to cover one final thing that came up during the hearing that has been bugging me. It's the other people's money thing.
How long does the city of Phoenix need this incentive? I mean, I've been here my whole life. I've seen it go from nothing to a bustling downtown. When is enough enough
Chairman
of other people's money? Sorry.
To put that another way,
one of the things that causes me consternation or heartburn or whatever is I represent Pinal County, that's where I live, and also a small part of it of Mesa, but used to represent a large part of Gila County, and so you're asking somebody like me and some of the others of us on this committee to go home to our constituents and tell them, well, you know, we're going to spend more money out of your state budget and your taxes so that Mesa can have a nice downtown.
you must be so popular back home, Chairman Carter. You claim to represent Mesa, but then lobby against spending on Mesa. What's your campaign slogan? Look at all the nothing I did? But to Chairman Carter's point, how does he justify to the good people of Gila County spending money on nice downtowns for Arizona cities? And I would answer, respectfully, when did the citizens of cities stop having any input on how the money is spent? They are still citizens of Arizona, right? In his opening statement, Representative Grantham stated he knows when cities get pitted against the state, it can become partisan.
I know when cities and towns get pitted against the state, it becomes partisan.
Frankly, what did you expect? Your case was based on the extremely flawed argument that cities were reckless in their use of GPLETs, when none other than your chairman showed it was anything but reckless, and was in fact restrained. It is hard to view this as anything other than politically motivated. What's worse is that if GPLETs are taken away, what happens to projects like the City of Hope Cancer Center in Goodyear, Arizona? What are the people of Goodyear to do? Depend upon a state legislature that calls them a bunch of crackheads to come to the rescue? I wouldn't hold my breath. They're too busy lighting themselves like supervillains for their social media accounts. HB 2309 is a partisan power grab by a Republican state legislature to remove self-governing capabilities of cities. And high-minded rhetoric about fairness under the law aside, they should feel embarrassed for trying to make that case. If Chairman Carter is watching this video, I'll save you the trouble of looking it up. Embarrassment is when you feel awkward or shameful because of acts you committed, like not knowing what embarrassed meant.